Welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about the danger that people like Reno Omokri pose to our country in the course of promoting their presidential candidate. Nigeria has serious fault lines. Our founding fathers have been trying to deal with these fault lines for decades. Now, these fault lines, which hinge on religion and ethnicity, is one of the reasons why Nigeria has not been able to be a world power. That's why Nigeria has not been able to be an economic power. That's why Nigeria, despite its population in Africa, is not highly regarded in the continent. Now, Reno Omokri is one of the people who think that it is cool to use our fault lines to advance their personal agenda. Why do I say this? Reno Omokri had been media aide to former President Goodluck Jonathan on new media. He had been media aide to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, especially in his campaign in 2019 and all that. He ought to have known better, but he has chosen to be deliberately do some mischief to cause crisis in the country. He is supporting former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the PDP presidential candidate. All he needed to do is to sell his candidate. It is to tell Nigerians how his candidate is better than every other person. Give the track record of the former vice president and everything else. And then let Nigerians situate it in line with what they knew about him, what they have read about him from Obasanjo's book, especially Obasanjo's memoir, where Obasanjo wrote copiously about Atiku Abubakar. That is what he ought to have concentrated his attention. But his attention has been turned to misinterpretation, misrepresentation with the aim of causing crisis, of causing hate, of causing killings in Nigeria, of exacerbating and widening the ethnic suspicions in the country. So why does he have to descend so low and abandon all the professional ethics needed in media communication, even in political campaigns? Of course, it's a sign of desperation when you see people begin to leave the issue and begin to dwell with personalities and trying to turn issues upside down. It means there is panic in their camp, and they know that they have no sellable ideas to sell to Nigerians. So they have to resort to blackmail. They have to resort to creation of tension between groups, between religions, in order to be able to sell their candidate. Now look at a simple explanation that the presidential candidate of Labour Party gave on television, on Arise TV, I think. He was asked why that the presidential candidate of New Nigerian People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, said that Northerners will not vote for a Southeast president or Southeast presidential candidate. So Mr. Peterobi said it He answered it excellently well. In fact, he was a reminder of a Solomon, the wise king. Look at what he said. He said, it is people that think like that. That is the reason why the country is the poverty capital of the world. That is why we have the very high unemployment rate in the country and underemployment rate and all that and on and on. And then he now said, is it because Southeasterner is not in the is the president of the country? That's why it is not safe to fly to Kaduna. It is not safe to travel by rail from Kaduna to Abuja, either by rail or by road. It was a very apt answer that he gave. And he now concluded by saying that Nigeria has been in the habit of employing vehicle drivers to fly aircraft, to fly aeroplane, and that Nigeria ought to have been recruiting qualified pilots to fly the aeroplane instead of hiring vehicle drivers. There was no time in that report that Mr. Peterobi ever said that one person is a driver and himself is a pilot. That was not what he said. But Reno Omokri twisted that statement to fit his own purpose, as if Mr. Peterobi was slandering Northerners and Kwankwaso in particular. And for maximum effect, he translated it in Hausa language. What was his mission? His mission was to create schism between Peterobi and northern Nigeria. So he wanted to create ethnic divide between Peterobi and northern Nigeria. Of course, he will fail both ways, and he has failed because North is there's nothing like monolithic North anymore. And besides, Northerners, they could read between the lines. He translated it in Hausa so that perhaps those who didn't hear the interview and Northerners will take it from his own perspective. That was exactly the same thing he did when some supporters of Mr. Peterobi submitted prayer mat. I don't know whether they donated prayer mat or something to a certain group. And it was Reno Omokri that blew it into proportion to the level that even Mr. Peterobi has to respond to that. So Mr. Reno Omokri had been trying to misrepresent the campaign of Mr. Peterobi just to be able to sell his own candidate. But he's not actually selling his own candidate. It was just actually to create problem in the country. That was why thousands of Nigerians have signed petition against him that he should be removed from Twitter. Whether those people succeed or not is immaterial. But what is important is that Nigeria has made a statement that they cannot condone that kind of campaign by anyone, be it Mr. Peterobi, be it anyone of trying to cause ethnic crisis in the country while you are safely away in UK or US. It is unacceptable. So I agree with those who felt badly to the level of calling for his suspension from Twitter. I'm somebody who believes in freedom of speech, but freedom of speech also has limitations. When your freedom of speech could lead to loss of lives and property, that your speech have to be halted in the interest of society. Now, why did Reno Omokri suddenly turn full cycle against Mr. Peterobi? I will tell you why when uh, in the next section of this video. But let me first of all uh, ask you if you have subscribed to my channel. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell, like this video, share it widely. When you subscribe to my channel, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. Now I'm talking about how did Reno Omokri turn full cycle against Mr. Peterobi, given the fact that we know some of the things he has said about Mr. Peterobi in the past. And if you read some of those things, which I'll read here now, you'll be asking yourself, what really happened? What can make a man turn full cycle? Okay? Let me read for you what Mr. Reno Omokri said on July 19, 2021, what he said about Mr. Peterobi during Mr. Peterobi's birthday in 2021. That's just last year. He said, "Happy birthday, His Excellency Peterobi. In you, Nigeria has hope for stellar and exemplary leadership. Your achievements in Anambra and in business world are a testament of your brilliance as a public and private administrator. Your detribalized mindset sets you far above your contemporaries. It is a honor to be associated with such a personality. Happy birthday, and may God bless you with many happy returns on this day. In Christ's name." Reno's Nuggets. This was just last year. Look at what he said about Mr. Peterobi. He said, "Your detribalized," that's a very key word to use there. Your detribalized mindset. So Reno Omokri know Mr. Peterobi very well, that he's a detribalized man and that he has a detribalized mindset. That is the words of Reno Omokri. Just last year. This year, 2022, a year later, Mr. Peterobi has become a tribal bigot that is out to insult the North, to embarrass the North and one of their sons. Can you picture the difference a year has made in the view of one man? Which shows you that he was not sincere in his allegations, in his manipulations of trying to turn Mr. Peterobi to be viewed in the North as somebody who is a tribal bigot or somebody who has no regard for tribes of northern Nigeria or their religion. You can see that far from it, Peterobi is not a man like that. Now, I want also to look at another lengthy write-up by Reno Omokri in April this year. In April this year, and you begin to wonder what's going on. Look at what he said about, listen to what he said about Mr. Peterobi in his Twitter handle too. He said, candidates like Peterobi do not have to limit themselves to the PDP APC dichotomy. There is power beyond these two parties. Actually, power belongs to the people. And if you can connect with them, you can collect their votes. At 39, Emmanuel Macron created a brand new political party named La République in March in 2016. A year later, he won election with his new party, becoming French president. He defeated parties that had been in existence for over a century. Nigerian youths and visionary candidates should not think they can't start a new party and win in 2023. Even if INEC will not register your party, do a hostile takeover of one of the smaller parties. Go up north and present a solution to the security crisis they face. Present that solution not to emirs, but to grassroots political leaders, and you will be surprised the votes that you will get. That was Reno Omokri in April. So what changed? What changed was the emergence of Atiku Abubakar as the presidential candidate of the PDP. And obviously, Reno Omokri was recruited as among the media minders of the campaign of Atiku Abubakar. Then Reno Omokri lost all his crew. His usual cool mind in assessing issue dissipated, and he became very combative on and off the social media. And one of his targets has been repeatedly Mr. Peterobi. The man he said so much loved things about a few months ago. The man he advised to go elsewhere and seek the presidency of Nigeria, reminding him and others that PDP and APC don't have it all. Of course, when Peterobi emerged on the scene, especially after he left the PDP on the eve of their primaries, when it became obvious to him that they are not going to be fair, they are not going to be just, and that the PDP delegates are going to go to the highest bidder, and being someone who is not ready to compete in outspending anybody in the race, he quietly withdrew, which was a smart move, because if Peter had not withdrawn, he couldn't have gone, if he had contested in that election, he couldn't have moved to another political party right now. It was a smart move, which shows that Mr. Peterobi is a very careful and calculated person. One, it means that Mr. Peterobi is one of the few aspirants at that time who actually read the Electoral Act back to back, so that to understand what it is. Because there are even lawmakers who even made the laws, like Lawan, Senate President Lawan, didn't even understand what they put inside the Electoral Act. To the level now that himself, Lawan, is in the battle of his life in terms of political life whether he will still remain in the Senate or not next year. So Mr. Peterobi withdrew from the race and moved to quote unquote smaller party. And initially they ignored him. But when they saw the wave, the enthusiasm that his campaign was generating, basically by the youth of Nigeria, they became panicky. Now all gloves are off. And Reno Omokri has thrown caution to the wind. He has become so desperate that he doesn't mind if people are killed in Nigeria because of the ambition of Atiku Abubakar and his own personal ambition. So he's ready to twist words, misrepresent facts, so as to create problem in the country. While he will be there in UK or US sipping his coffee, laughing at them, how he has turned Nigeria upside down, which is false interpretation of a simple statement that even the most uneducated Nigerian on the street could be able to grasp what was said in a very simple English. This is a very dangerous turn to the presidential election we are going to in 2023, and something needs to be done. I think Atiku Abubakar, it is time that Atiku Abubakar is going to be held responsible for things that Reno Omokri does. Because Reno Omokri is doing all these things in the name of Atiku Abubakar. Reno Omokri is not in the ballot in 2023 presidential election. So what he is doing, what he is setting the country up for violence, for destruction, is being done in the interest of Atiku Abubakar. There's a need for Atiku Abubakar to either disown him. Remember, when Deborah died, when Deborah was killed in Sokoto, Deborah, the College of Education student in Sokoto that was killed for blasphemy, the media, the Twitter handle of Atiku condemned that killing. But it didn't take a while. Atiku appeared on the scene and said that the condemnation was not with his authorization, that he normally vets everything that comes out from his Twitter handle, and that he didn't authorize that particular condemnation. That was the end of the matter. The only last thing Atiku told Nigerians. But he never told Nigerians that he condemned it again, which means Atiku, for all intents and purposes, never condemned what they did to Deborah. Because if he had condemned what they did to Deborah, he would have said so. But what he's saying that I didn't authorize it, therefore I didn't condemn it. So to this day, we take it that Atiku is cool with what happened to Deborah. Deborah got what he was looking for, and as far as Atiku was concerned, because he didn't condemn it. Because it's a different thing to say, I didn't authorize the condemnation, but now I'm authorizing it by myself. I'm saying it, what they did to Deborah was wrong. They shouldn't do jungle justice to anybody. They should have taken her to court, whatever court, whether it's Sharia court or the secular court, if they have any issues with her. But he didn't say any of that. What he did was to condemn the condemnation. And the matter closed. Even Reno Omokri, who claimed to be a pastor, was cool with that response. Before I digress, so the essence of what I'm saying is that if Atiku can own up, come out and dissociate himself with that particular Twitter handle. Of course, that's his own, but he doesn't own Reno Omokri's Twitter handle. Reno owns it, but Reno is doing it on his behalf. He has to come out and condemn what Reno Omokri is doing, because if he doesn't, it means that what Reno Omokri is saying is with his own approval. That's the end of it. So the ball is now in the court of Atiku Abubakar to see that he called Reno Omokri to order, because freedom of speech has its limitation, no matter what anybody tells you. Where your freedom of speech ends is where another person's own started. There's a need to understand that. So the ball is in the court of Atiku Abubakar to do something. But meanwhile, you can see how everything that is being posted on social media, how they are turning it that it is peterobi's fault. If there's any altercation with any obedient supporter on social media, they say peterobi should call his boys to order. He could call his supporters to order. But they are not ready to call their own to order. Isn't it not suspicious? So that is why, in closing this discussion, I think the advice is that people should be mindful of our fault lines and not turn this election in 2023 into avenue to deepen the fault lines and create crisis that will make the 2023 presidential election a very, very divisive one. This election should be an election that should unite all Nigerians, because all Nigerians are suffering from the situation in the country. Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Nigeria has the highest unemployment rate in the world. Nigeria has the highest underemployment rate in the world. Nigeria's lending rate is one of the highest in the world. Nigeria has no power. Nigeria has no water. Nigeria has no education, because look at how the education system has collapsed to the level that university students have been at home for almost a year. It's not done anywhere in the world. These should be the issues. Who can solve this problem? Look at the killings going on. Look at how terrorists invaded a correctional center in the heart of Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and the help did not come for the facility, and they operated for over 3 hours. And you say that people in other parts of the country will not be asking for rights to bear arms? If Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, bandits or terrorists can come inside there and operate for 3 hours and went away, none of them was killed, so clinically done, to the level that even government is admitting that the terrorists have superior weapon than Nigerian security agents. What are we talking about? It means that Nigeria is totally on the road to Somalia, and we have to halt it by putting into leadership someone who can stop this slide, this road to Somalia that Nigeria is heading. Someone can stop it using combination of economic intervention and military intervention. And Mr. Peterobi has said how it can be done. That should be the issue at stake, and not the issue of creating more divisions by putting lies in the mouth of people by creating crisis amongst the various ethnic nationalities and tribes and religions in Nigeria. So that is what it should be all about. And people like Reno, Omokri, and people who want to do that in this election should be rejected by Nigerians. Like I said earlier on, whether those who want Reno Omokri to be banned from Twitter succeed or not, the message has been sent that Nigerians do not tolerate the degeneration of this campaign to become an ethnic and religious issues. Rather, what should determine this election is who has the capacity to solve the problem. And that is what Nigerians should be standing upon, because Nigeria will miss it if it doesn't put its eyes on the ball, which is who will solve this problem right now based on his track record. Who will be in the villa? Nigerian money will not be missing. Who will be in the villa, presidential villa, and the budgetary allocations will be properly utilized. Who will be in the villa? Who will ensure that the political buccaneers do not steal all the money and the monies are spent targeted at various sectors that will bring positive return for Nigeria, that will help us to create wealth, that will move this country from being a consuming nation to a producing nation. Who is that man that can do it? That is the choice between Nigerians, before Nigerians. That is the choice before Nigerians. Who can do it? That is the man that should be on the seat in Asoro Villa. And I have no doubt in my mind that Mr. Peterobi fit the bill to do it. And he has a capable vice president in Dr. Dati Ahmed, who is also as physically responsible like Mr. Peterobi. He's a man who doesn't believe in wasteful spending of government resources. And that is the kind of team we want that can solve the problem of this country. And not all these people who we know that they bought the delegates to become presidential candidates. And you think they will not come there to recoup their money. I think anybody who believes any of the candidates who broke the bank literally to buy delegates, millions of dollars, that the person is coming to solve Nigeria's problem, I think the person's head needs to be examined. Thank you for watching this video. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. When you subscribe to my channel, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you.